Coming up on today's show, a woman is trapped in New York City during an alien invasion in the new horror movie, A Quiet Place, Day 1. Stay tuned. Welcome to Scary World, where we walk you through the latest and greatest in the world of horror. I am your host, Arturo Padilla.
Hi.
For those of you just joining us, don't forget to subscribe up above and say what's up down below. We have one major rule around here, folks. No spoilers. Now that we got that out of the way, there are 5 categories: production, story, ensemble, horror, and legacy. Each category can score the maximum of 2 points.
Showtime.
Per IMDb, the synopsis goes, a woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultrasonic hearing. This movie was directed by Michael Sarnowski. He had previously directed Pig with Nicolas Cage, also a very good movie. With Day 1, Sarnowski ensures that the movie looked great. All the shots are nicely framed and well composed. Sarnowski was able to make some great artistic choices behind the camera, further immersing the audience into the chaos of the situation. There are several shots in this movie that involve a high level of technique in order to show the audience exactly what is going on, and they are executed at a high level and very well. There are some very bird's eye view shots, we get some very awesome close-ups, we get some great depth of field work, we get a lot of good camera tricks here, and they are all executed well, and they all look good, and they're all successful. The sound design was also paramount in the execution of this production, and it accomplishes what it set out to do: amplify the suspense and the tension. We all know A Quiet Place is infamous for a lack of auditory noises during the scenes, and that is one of the best parts. In this third iteration, the suspense and the tension is amplified because of the setting and the situation that they're in. They don't know what to expect like the first family did in the first Quiet Place because they were already 400 days into that invasion. This is day 1. So these people are just getting into the thick of things and they're just experiencing this as it is happening. And I think this movie does a great job building that suspense and that tension throughout the entire movie, helping those very important scenes where there is no sound and it's just the creature and our actors and just this negative space in between them that is filled with silence. And in this movie, the gimmick is done excellently. It comes off very well and it looks great in the theater. And for the great production and all the levels of this production being executed at an elite level, this movie gets a 2 for this category. This movie looks great. It looks great on IMAX. It looks great in 2D. This thing was made for the big screen. It was made for a summer blockbuster, and this is exactly what we get in this movie. The story and the script was also written by Michael Sarnowski, and with this script, Sarnowski managed to successfully create a great character story that's surrounded by all this mayhem and all this horror. The script is structured nicely and paced well, with all the acts flowing well, hitting all the major beats along the way. Unfortunately, when it comes to the lore of the franchise, this story does not add or enhance what the audience already knows about these extraterrestrial monsters. That is my main problem with this movie, folks. There is a great character story followed by a great performance, which we'll talk more in the next segment, but the movie forgets the main reason why we even paid for the ticket. It is these crazy monsters that don't speak, that don't have any sight. All they have are these awesome ears and they're ready to attack. We don't get anything new here. We get the same stuff. We know already that these creatures are very sensitive to sound. We got that in the first iteration of this franchise. We know that they can't swim. We got that in the second iteration of this franchise. This one doesn't add anything new to the mythology of these creatures, and that is my main problem with this entire movie. Yes, we have a great story that's the core of this thing, but they seem to have forgotten about the actual horror. It seems like we spoke about this in our previous show, The Exorcism, where they forgot to finish the horror story. Here you get kind of the same thing. They finish the character story and we are all involved with it, but then the horror aspect of it, the monsters that we went and that we know, we don't get any new knowledge about them, and that's where this thing fails in my opinion. And for the great character story that we get in the core of this movie, A Quiet Place Day 1 gets a 1 for story. I do wish they would have enhanced the lore and the knowledge we have of these alien creatures. We don't get anything new from them besides maybe some close-up looks of their skull design, and that's about it. The story touches upon a couple of things there, but it just teases you and doesn't do anything else with them. And that's why this only gets a 1, aside from the great character story that we do get. The entire ensemble does a great job with their roles, especially our two protagonists. Lupita Nyong'o is fantastic as Sam.
You can't have a cat in here. It's a service cat.
She anchors this movie from start to finish and gives the audience a masterclass in acting. Joseph Quinn does his best to keep up with his co-star and delivers a very good performance as Eric. These two actors showcase their talent. This is one of the main reasons why this movie did turn out to be quite a success.
If we stay here, we die. I have a plan.
Because of the ensemble. Lupita Nyong'o, folks, she plays this character Sam, who is part of this hospice, and she doesn't have much to live. We find out very early on that she has cancer, and that drives the performance. And just, my goodness, the way that Lupita portrays this character through the ups and downs is just a magnificent sight to see. I love it when an actor or actress takes their role and just completely dominates it. And this is what happens here. You don't remember much of the movie except for Lupita and her story, or I should say Sam and her story. And Lupita knocks it out of the park with this performance. And this is why all you can think about is this great character story and how this all unfolds. And we kind of forget about the alien monsters because of Lupita's acting and because of Sam's personal story and her journey in this movie. As mentioned before, Joseph Quinn, who plays direct support to Sam as the character Eric, he shows up midway through the movie and acts more like a device than he does a character. All that said, Quinn does a great job with his role and manages to also knock it out of the park. There is not much dialogue between these characters, but they find a way to show all the emotion and all you need through their actions and through their eyes and their face, and it is just a sight to behold. These two actors do a great job with this movie and make sure this thing does not fail. And for the excellent character work that we get in this movie, A Quiet Place Day 1 gets a 2 for ensemble. Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o deserve all the flowers and all the credit for making this movie what it is. If it was not for their performances, this thing would not be as captivating as it was. There is plenty of creature feature fun to be had in this movie. This iteration offers up hordes of the auricularly gifted blind monsters, and they did not disappoint. The gnarly look of the monsters is more pronounced, while the separating aspect of their skull design is heightened. They do a good job of focusing on that feature and showing you what else that can really do. It's not much in terms of what we get, but it is another morsel, a tease of a possibility of what could have been if we got more monster lore. because we definitely get more monster action, 1000%. This one has the most action out of all 3 movies in this franchise, but I feel that it needed more monster stuff. But aside from all that stuff, the creatures leave a staggeringly higher body count in their wake, along with many unanswered questions. And this again goes back to my problem. We don't get any new information about these creatures, man. We kind of know everything we know because of parts 1 and part 2. Day 1, aka part 3, does not satisfy my craving for more knowledge of these monsters and of these antagonists. I wish they would at least show us these monsters, landing and bursting out of whatever vessel or pod they came into Earth, but we don't get any of that. And that's what I need out of these movies. A little bit more of the sci-fi stuff. I understand the character stories, the family stories, all that stuff is great, but we are here about sci-fi and a sci-fi monster. And we don't get enough of that in this movie. Like I said, yes, we do get the kills and all that stuff, don't get me wrong, but what I wanted was to see more about their history, their species, where they came from. How the hell does the government know so quickly about their weaknesses and all that? Like, we don't get enough of that info, and that's exactly what we needed in part 3. This is the 3rd one, folks. We need more from these monsters. Even though I am disappointed that the movie did not offer us more lore of these creatures, it definitely amplified the horror action. In comparison to the other 2, we get a heck of a lot more aliens, a heck of a lot more kills. It looks good on screen. They definitely made sure that the CG was not going to be bad in these movies, and they haven't really been. Especially in this one where we get so many of these creatures. They did a great job with their look, and I think they were super effective. I just wanted more. And for that, this movie gets a 2 for horror. They gave us a lot more horror action here. They gave us a lot more monsters and kills and all that good stuff, but I still wanted more. This was a good movie, folks, but it still didn't offer up the sufficient lore to give the viewer more knowledge about the monsters and the invasion. The audience is left with the same information they walked into the theater with. The story that was told was very good. Don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed Lupita Nyong'o's performance and her character Sam and her journey. But that story did nothing to add to the mythology of these creatures. And again, that is my major problem with this whole entire movie, folks. It doesn't add anything new. It's just another story about a person trying to stay alive in this situation. We got that already, twice. And it was done better in part 1, in my opinion. I think I really enjoyed that story more. Don't get it wrong, don't get me twisted, this was good. But I think I enjoyed that first one more because it had the benefit of the doubt of being the first one. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know exactly what these creatures were capable of. But this is the 3rd movie now. We know exactly what they can do, what their weaknesses are for the most part, but then we don't get anything else. It is a disappointing outcome that we don't further expand on these creatures. This is why I came to the theater and got nothing out of it. And for not expanding our knowledge of these creatures and not showing us more of this species and what they're capable of and what they can do, this movie gets a 0 for legacy. I understand that we have a character story here, but I did not go to the theater for a character story. I went to see a sci-fi horror movie, and we got that, but we could have done a lot better here, folks. So to tally it up, A Quiet Place Day 1 received a 2 for production, a 1 for story, a 2 for ensemble, a 2 for horror, and a 0 for legacy, bringing the total score up to a 7. This was a good movie, as I said before. Was it better than the first one? I don't think so, not in my opinion. It was definitely better than the second one, but I still feel that it was a missed opportunity to build on these creatures and what they were capable of and what they were doing on Earth. Like, why Earth? You know? And where did they come from? And all that other stuff. I want to know that stuff. We are in the 3rd movie. It's about time we get some more exposition on these creatures. Unfortunately, we don't get it here. What we do get is a more personal, character-driven story with a great performance. Unfortunately, that is all well and good, but it doesn't add to the mythology of these aliens. Go watch A Quiet Place Day 1 in theaters now.
Can you tell me what time it is?
And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you for watching Scary World. Don't forget to drop a comment down below and hit the thumbs up on the video. Most importantly, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are dropping spoiler-free horror movie reviews for you guys all week long. Plus, we have the official CorpseFeed podcast, The Morgue, dropping every Tuesday wherever you get your podcast streams. Plus, you get the live feed as well on the YouTube page. Go like, subscribe, and share. Give us some stars. Give us a review. We would highly appreciate it. Go check us out on all the socials. We are there, folks. And we will see you next time for another episode. And remember, it's a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.